Hello, and welcome to the Town of the Blue Mountains Drainage Master Plan Public Meeting Presentation for Public Information Center 3. This presentation has been prepared to highlight the final recommendations of the Town of the Blue Mountains Drainage Master Plan. The public will be provided an opportunity to ask questions during an in-person public meeting question and answer session described later in this presentation. Tatham Engineering has been retained by the Town of the Blue Mountains to undertake the Drainage Master Plan, following approach number 2 of the master planning process outlined in the Municipal Engineers Association, MEA, Municipal Class Environmental Assessment Document, October 2000, as amended in 2007, 2011, 2015, and 2023. This Drainage Master Plan is a broad-level assessment detailing the drainage deficiencies identified in the study area. It considers improvement options to address these deficiencies and the evaluation of these alternative solutions to assist in the selection of a preferred solution to be implemented moving forward. Daniel Twigger is the project manager for this project and manager of Water Resources Engineering at Tatham Engineering. Daniel can be reached at dtwigger@tathameng.com or via telephone at 705-444-2565, extension 2090. Daniel will be available to answer questions at the in-person question and answer session described later in this presentation. What is a municipal class environmental assessment? A municipal class environmental assessment is a planning and design process to identify, compare, and evaluate alternative solutions to an identified problem. It applies to all municipal road, water, and wastewater projects and significant private projects as per the Municipal Engineers Association Municipal Class Environmental Assessment Document. It ensures all aspects of the environment, physical, natural, social, cultural, and economic, are considered in the evaluation and selection of the preferred solution to be implemented. The Drainage Master Plan is approaching the end of Phase 2, and the 90% Drainage Master Plan report is available on the project webpage on the town's website. The public consultation requirements for this project were previously fulfilled through Public Information Center 2, which was held in March 2023. This current Public Information Center is not required per the EA process. However, given the large scope of this project, the town is completing this Public Information Center to present the final conclusions of the Drainage Master Plan to residents, and to provide an opportunity for any questions regarding the conclusions of the Drainage Master Plan EA to be answered. The final Drainage Master Plan will be finalized following Public Information Center 3 and made available through the project webpage on the town's website. This Drainage Master Plan is focused on developing drainage solutions for the settlement areas of the Town of the Blue Mountains, including Lora Bay, Thornbury, Clarksburg, Craigleith, Camperdown, and the Blue Mountain Village area. The study area covers the settlement areas from Christie Beach Road in the west to Gray Road 21 or Osler Bluff Road in the east. Georgian Bay forms the north study boundary, and the settlement area boundary generally forms the study's south limit. As part of Phase 1 of the Municipal Class Environmental Assessment process, the problem statement for the Drainage Master Plan was developed. Specifically, the problem statement for the Drainage Master Plan is: identify drainage deficiencies and recommend solutions to improve the storm drainage systems across the Town of the Blue Mountains, in consideration of impacts to the natural, social, physical, cultural, and economic environments. Town-wide minor and major drainage system models were created to identify the existing drainage deficiencies associated with the town's drainage infrastructure and the extent of the flooding along each watercourse in the study area. With an understanding of the drainage issues and deficiencies across the town, general improvement options, including storm sewer improvements, water quality improvements, flow reduction improvements, and conveyance capacity improvements, were then identified. Public Information Center 1 was held at the end of Phase 1 of the Municipal Class Environmental Assessment process to inform the public and interested stakeholders of the drainage issues and deficiencies identified, to elicit feedback regarding drainage issues observed within the town, and to present the general improvement options being considered. The feedback from Public Information Center 1 was used to complete the database of known drainage issues, and the comments received supported the improvements being considered. As part of Phase 2 of the Drainage Master Plan, alternative solutions to address the identified drainage issues and deficiencies were developed, assessed, and evaluated. The alternative solutions were assessed using the minor and major drainage systems models created for the project to determine their effectiveness at addressing the identified drainage issues and deficiencies. The alternative solutions were then evaluated based on their physical, natural, social, cultural, and economic impact. The alternative solutions having the greatest overall benefit were then identified as part of the preliminary preferred alternative solution. The preliminary preferred alternative solution included general recommendations consisting of minor drainage system improvements, water quality improvements, and operation and maintenance procedures, and individual drainage projects consisting of SWMF improvements, trunk storm sewer improvements, and culvert and watercourse improvements. Public Information Center 2 was held towards the end of Phase 2 of the Municipal Class Environmental Assessment process to inform the public and interested stakeholders of the preliminary preferred solution identified, to elicit feedback regarding the solutions selected, and to advise regarding next steps. The feedback from Public Information Center 2 was used to refine the preferred solution, and the comments received generally supported the improvements being recommended. As mentioned, the feedback from Public Information Center 2 was used to refine the preferred solution selected. The final preferred solution recommended for implementation by the town is presented in the following slides. Following the screening of improvement alternatives as previously described, general recommendations were identified for inclusion in the preliminary preferred solution. These general recommendations generally consist of Schedule A or A+ projects and are pre-approved for implementation at the town's discretion, as deemed feasible, in conjunction with planned infrastructure renewal and road reconstruction projects as infrastructure reaches the end of its service life. The following general recommendations were selected for inclusion in the preliminary preferred solution. Minor drainage system improvements, including upsizing storm sewer to satisfy current design standards, relocating drainage infrastructure from private property to municipal lands, and improving areas currently absent of minor drainage systems to include storm sewers or roadside ditches as part of future road reconstruction projects. Water quality improvements, including encouraging residents to implement lot-level, low-impact development measures such as rain barrels and soak-away pits where feasible, implementing linear low-impact development measures such as perforated pipe systems and infiltration systems as part of future road reconstruction projects where local conditions are favorable, and installing mechanical stormwater treatment devices within the storm sewer network as part of future road reconstruction and infrastructure renewal projects. The estimated construction costs of the general recommendations are illustrated on this slide. The general recommendations are estimated to cost between $20,249,000 and $56,803,000, depending on the extent of linear low-impact development measures, which can be implemented across the study area. The individual drainage projects recommended through the Drainage Master Plan include retrofitting an existing stormwater management pond, culvert and watercourse improvements, and trunk storm sewer improvements. The individual drainage projects recommended through the Drainage Master Plan are illustrated on individual drainage project maps included in the 90% Drainage Master Plan, included on the project webpage on the town's website. The number and types of individual drainage projects evaluated and recommended, and the estimated costs of the recommended projects are summarized on this slide. A total of 79 individual drainage projects were selected for inclusion in the preferred solution. Of these 79 projects, there is one stormwater management facility retrofit for quality control, 2 specific minor drainage system improvement projects, 74 culvert and watercourse major drainage system improvement projects, and 2 trunk storm sewer and overland flow route major drainage system improvement projects. The total cost of all of the recommended individual drainage improvement projects is estimated to be $97,768,000. However, some of the recommended drainage improvements fall under the responsibilities of the Municipality of Meaford, Grey County, and the MTO. The estimated cost to implement the recommended drainage projects, which are the responsibility of the Town of the Blue Mountains, is $68,864,000. Of this cost, an estimated $19,448,000 would be required to replace existing infrastructure at the current level of service, meaning the actual cost to the town to implement the recommended improvements is estimated to be $48,416,000. We note that this estimated cost assumes that the drainage improvement projects will be constructed individually, while in reality there will be cost savings as some of the recommended drainage improvements can be completed during road construction and infrastructure renewal projects. Additionally, the town is calibrating the Drainage Master Plan models to improve model accuracy. The current models are conservative. They produce higher than anticipated peak flows, and we anticipate that model calibration will result in reduced peak flows, allowing for smaller infrastructure to be constructed at reduced costs to the town. In the Lora Bay development area, drainage improvements shown within the Boulder Channel Drainage Improvements area, outlined in yellow, were recommended as part of a site-specific study of the local drainage system. These improvements are currently being implemented by Lora Bay. If future drainage improvements are required for this area, they will be assessed and implemented by Lora Bay in accordance with site-specific studies in support of future development through the Master Development Agreement process. Drainage improvements shown within the Thornbury West Drainage Master Plan area, outlined in yellow, were recommended as part of the Thornbury West Drainage Master Plan Municipal Class EA, completed by Tatham Engineering in 2019. The drainage improvements recommended by the 2019 Municipal Class EA were reviewed as part of this Drainage Master Plan and are recommended to be implemented as described in the 2019 Municipal Class EA. Some of these recommendations have been or are currently being implemented as part of the Thornbury West reconstruction project. Conceptual designs of the drainage solutions proposed to be completed through the Drainage Act assessment have been prepared by Crozier Consulting Engineers and peer-reviewed by WT Infrastructure. WT Infrastructure also reviewed the proposed drainage improvements and the process for the Drainage Act project to ensure the proper process is followed in accordance with the petition for drainage works under the Drainage Act. The proposed drainage solution involves improvements to existing municipal drains. Watercourse 7 in the study area is the Blue Mountain Outlet Drain. Outlet 8 is the Blue Mountain Diversion Drain. And Watercourse 9 in the study area is the Ford Outlet Drain. The proposed drainage solution includes the following works. An overflow channel will be constructed between the Georgian Trail and Lakeshore Road East to convey flow exceeding the capacity of Watercourse 9 from Watercourse 9 to Outlet 8. An existing spill from Watercourse 7 towards Watercourse 6 will be eliminated, thereby incrementally improving flooding along Watercourse 6, and an overflow channel will be constructed along Watercourse 7 and Lakeshore Road to convey flow exceeding the capacity of Watercourse 7 from Watercourse 7 to Outlet 8, and the culverts crossing the Georgian Trail and Highway 26 along Outlet 8 will be improved to convey the additional flow directed to Outlet 8 by the proposed overflow channels. As part of this drainage master plan, Tatham also reviewed the drainage improvements proposed under the Drainage Act assessment and is in agreement with the proposed drainage improvement concept. We are in agreement that the sections of Watercourse 9 and Watercourse 7 downstream of Highway 26 do not have sufficient capacity, and therefore, flow should be directed from these watercourses to Outlet 8, which discharges across municipally owned property to Georgian Bay, and can therefore be improved to convey the additional flow. As these proposed improvements are being undertaken through a Drainage Act process, they are exempt from the Ontario Environmental Assessment Act. Additionally, it is noted that modification of existing drains created through the Ontario Drainage Act is outside the scope of the Municipal Engineers Association, Class EA. Following the selection of the preferred solution, the individual drainage projects were prioritized through a risk assessment, considering other factors such as infrastructure condition and current capital plans. After prioritizing the individual drainage projects, a 10-year implementation plan was developed considering available budget. The implementation plan is outlined in the following slides. As discussed, the individual drainage projects were prioritized through a risk assessment developed for the Drainage Master Plan. Specifically, the risk assessment considered the severity of the existing drainage deficiency, the probability of failure, and the economic, social, and environmental consequence of failure. Based on the probability and consequence of failure, a cumulative risk was assigned to each individual drainage project in accordance with the table included on this slide. The individual drainage projects were prioritized based on their cumulative risk, and prioritization of the projects was refined considering the condition of the existing infrastructure, works included in the current capital plan, and the need to implement projects starting downstream and moving upstream in the watershed. A 10-year implementation program has been developed considering the project prioritization along with current capital plans, the MTO proposed Highway 26 improvements, neighborhood renewal programs, and condition assessments. The 10-year implementation plan is summarized on this slide. The 10-year implementation plan includes implementing 17 of the recommended drainage improvements between 2025 and 2034 at a cost of $23,507,000, or an average annual expenditure of $2,351,000. The town intends to undertake the recommended drainage improvements as per the 10-year implementation plan, subject to available funding and capital budget. As available funding sources are not guaranteed and the capital budget varies, the implementation plan is subject to change as part of future capital plan updates. As part of the Drainage Master Plan, a development framework outlining the recommended approach and criteria for the design and approval of future development applications in the town from a drainage and stormwater management perspective has been prepared. The development framework includes a more rigorous methodology to establish water quality control requirements for developments to control peak flows and prevent further erosion throughout the watershed, a means to identify where improvements to existing drainage infrastructure and/or water courses are required to protect public safety and public and private property, a mechanism to improve the water quality control requirements for developments to protect the natural environment and health of Georgian Bay, and a mechanism to require the use of low-impact development, LID, measures to satisfy area-specific infiltration targets and achieve a level of volume control in advance of the release of the MECP's Low Impact Development Manual. As stormwater management has evolved, so has the need for alternative funding mechanisms to support municipal infrastructure. As a result of this evolution, municipalities are seeking alternative funding mechanisms to the traditional tax-based approach to cover the growing costs of operating, maintaining, and replacing their existing stormwater assets. Alternative funding mechanisms include development charges, stormwater utilities, grants, and water quality trading. These alternative funding mechanisms, including development charge eligibility of the various projects, have been explored as part of the Drainage Master Plan. Through our review, the DC eligible costs will only cover a portion of the estimated improvement costs, and a stormwater utility was identified as the only dedicated funding mechanism capable of covering the growing costs of stormwater management. It is recommended the town explore a stormwater utility further through a stormwater utility rate study. Proactively, the town of the Blue Mountains currently applies a simple approach to adapting to climate change by applying a 10% increase to the available rainfall intensity, duration, frequency, IDF, relationships developed from historic rainfall data for the area. As part of the Drainage Master Plan, a review of approaches currently used by municipalities to adjust their rainfall design standards to account for climate change has been completed. Current climate change models predict a 4% to 10% increase in rainfall depth and intensity through the year 2050 and 2100, respectively. Based on the comparisons of the predicted future IDF curves from the various climate change prediction tools, the current Town of the Blue Mountains intensity duration frequency relationships adjusted by 10% to account for climate change are valid for infrastructure sizing through the planning horizon 2050 and potentially beyond. It is recommended that the town reassess the 10% adjustment factor used to account for climate change when IDF curve updates are released, or at a minimum, as part of every design standard update, to ensure the town's design standards remain valid and properly account for climate change for the anticipated lifespan of the infrastructure being designed. As part of the development of the minor and major drainage system models, noticeable discrepancies were identified between the results of the Drainage Master Plan hydrologic models and the hydrologic models prepared as part of the 1993 Grey Sauble Conservation Authority Craigleith Camperdown Watershed Study. Generally, higher, more conservative, peak flows were produced by the Drainage Master Plan hydrologic model which may be leading to conservative infrastructure sizing and inflated project costs. The hydrologic models prepared as part of the Drainage Master Plan were developed following the recommended, approved approach of the NVCA, GSCA, and MTO. To alter the hydrologic parameters and approach beyond standard recommended values and methods, justification through model calibration is required. Based on Tatham's recommendation to calibrate the hydrologic models, the town of the Blue Mountains has initiated a streamflow monitoring program to collect streamflow monitoring data for a 1-year period, allowing the model to be calibrated. It is recommended that the streamflow monitoring program continue beyond 1 year to gain additional streamflow monitoring data to further refine the model calibration in the future. After the model is calibrated using the available streamflow data, the results of the calibrated model will be compared against the uncalibrated model results to identify the change in flows and impacts on the recommendations of this Drainage Master Plan. Once the results are known, the town will consider next steps, specifically whether reevaluating the preferred solutions is warranted. The calibrated hydrologic model results will be used to complete the detailed design of the preferred solutions once available. As discussed, the public will be provided an opportunity to ask questions during an in-person public meeting questions and answer session. Information regarding the Q&A session and next steps in the project is provided in the following slide. An in-person public meeting question and answer session will be held to allow participants to ask questions regarding this Drainage Master Plan. The in-person Q&A session will be held at Town Hall on October 29, 2024, from 5 to 7 p.m. A notice of Public Information Center is available on the project webpage on the town's website. For additional information regarding Public Information Center 3, please contact Prithvi Desai, Manager, Capital Projects for the town. Registration is not required for the in-person Q&A session, and all are encouraged to attend. If you cannot attend the in-person public meeting Q&A session and have questions regarding this study, please contact the Town of the Blue Mountains or Tatham Engineering at the addresses provided in this presentation. Following Public Information Center 3 and the in-person public meeting question and answer session, the final Drainage Master Plan document will be finalized for staff review and council endorsement. The final Drainage Master Plan Class Environmental Assessment document will then be placed on the public record for review. A digital copy of the report will be placed on the project's webpage on the town's website, and a hard copy will be available at Town Hall. The Notice of Study Completion will then be issued, closing the project. We encourage everyone to participate in the in-person public meeting Q&A session scheduled for October 29, 2024. If you cannot attend the in-person public meeting Q&A session and have questions regarding this study, please contact the Town of the Blue Mountains or Tatham Engineering Limited at the addresses provided in this presentation. We would like to thank you for viewing this presentation and participating in the Town of the Blue Mountains Drainage Master Plan. This concludes the presentation.